Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Rainmaking Time. This is Kim Greenhouse. Thank you for being here. When you think of rainmaking, you think of thunder, you think of lightning, you think of the energy. And I thought to myself, I wonder what it would be like to talk to somebody who's been struck by lightning. And in fact, that is who we're talking to. Struckbylightning.org. Michael Utley, in May of 2000, was struck by lightning on a golf course. He is here at It's Rainmaking Time to share with us, as he has shared with so many radio and television stations, his story. We're honored to have you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, I want to know, how do you describe the feeling of being struck by lightning?
It's pretty hard to describe it because I don't remember it. I don't remember anything that happened. I don't remember being struck. I don't remember that day or the 38 days that followed, actually. It's an immense amount of energy that runs through you, and it runs through you very fast. Lightning moves at a couple 100,000 miles an hour on the way down and a couple of million miles an hour on the way up. So it's fast and strong.
I don't think most people know that. I think they think it's much slower.
Oh, no, it's very, very quick. There's some new, go on the web, you'll see some new slow motion video of lightning, which is really pretty intense. It shows just how little we know about it now and how much we're learning.
What happened to you? 38 days in rehab. You said you died 3 times? What does that mean?
I stopped 3 different times that day, twice in the golf course, once in the ambulance, and I did 38 days at Brigham and Women's Intensive Care Unit, and then another 4 months in a Health South rehab.
Did you think you were going to die?
Oh, brain dead quadriplegia was the prognosis, and told my wife I'd never walk again. There was talk about pulling the plug, all that kind of neat stuff.
Why didn't they pull the plug?
Have to ask them. They had plans, they just didn't, so.
Thank God. Thank God they didn't. You were on, did you say 100 milligrams of narcotics a day?
Oh, I was on 100 milligrams of OxyContin a day. I was on Neurontin and Vicodin and all kinds of different drugs, and I've weaned myself off all of them over the last 10 years.
They're so highly addictive. How did you get yourself off those drugs?
I'm not a doctor or a pharmacist or anything like that, but I did go to school in the late 60s, early 70s. So drugs are useful. The OxyContin that I took was used to help me with the pain. And it wasn't a matter of getting high on it, but it stopped the pain. So I didn't get high on it. It worked for me for pain, and then you just come off it. I guess it's a difference when you use it. If it's doing what it's supposed to do, as opposed to using it when you don't need it.
Do you find that since you've been off the narcotics, are you in more pain physically, or do you find that somehow you're adjusting?
Both. Coming off of stuff like OxyContin or even Neurontin and some of the serotonin, neonepinephrine inhibitors or whatever they are, it changes everything. I kind of like putting sunglasses or a sheet over top of your, it deadens stuff. So as you get off that stuff, it's like taking sunglasses off, and you see more and more, you do more and more, you start to feel more and more. It's pretty neat. It's like being a teenager. You're getting better every day.
Was there ever a time when you were laying in rehab where you wanted to die?
You'd say that it did cross my mind on occasion.
Did you ever think you'd get out of it?
I'm always kind of the half-full kind of guy. I always thought I would get out of it. It's only recently that I realized that I'm going to continue to get better, but I'm never going to get better.
How do you know that for sure with all the wild and incredible advances, not just in traditional medicine, but in the medicine of frequency and complementary medicine?
Looking at what it does, I mean, you're looking at something that's up to 1 billion volts, a couple 100,000 amps. It leaves little black spots in your brain. Similar, but not similar to a stroke, in the sense that it burns little holes in the brain. Now, if the synapses or whatever it is that goes around through that stuff makes it around and reconnects, good. If it doesn't, bad. So, it's hard to say what happens and everything, but you just kind of have to deal with it, and you realize that part's never going to grow back.
Do you believe in miracles? I was just wondering. I know this is kind of off the beaten track of the concrete lightning strikes, but
I guess I have to.
Because really, as you just described the power of lightning strikes, you shouldn't be alive today then, right?
No.
That's a miracle.
A couple of things about lightning there. It is 9 out of 10 people struck by lightning do survive, and the reason is they're not struck directly. It hits a telephone pole, runs through the tree to the ground and hits them, or through a phone wire, or, any number of things. I took a rare direct hit, and it's very, very rare to survive there.
Now, you started to get involved and go to these survivor groups for people that have been struck by lightning. What did you notice when you went to them?
The first year after I got hurt, I went down to a lightning strike survivors group, and one of the things that seemed to come out of it was even in that group, the misinformation and the confusion was rampant, and there's so little medical documentation, so little hard scientific fact that there wasn't any solid basis with stuff, and a lot of the things said you're going to get worse in 5 years. A lot of people said you're going to get better, and most of them said you were going to get worse. And so I was a stockbroker before I got hurt, and I wanted to figure out what was going to happen. So started to figure out why I could get better and not get worse. And then saw all of the myths and misconceptions and everything about it, and that's how we ended up forming this group to kind of get the message out that, lightning safety has evolved. Our education about lightning has grown in the last 10 years more than it did in the last 100 years. We understand that metal doesn't attract lightning. We understand, the old lightning safety rules. We had the 30-30 rule where you counted to 30 and it told you lightning was 5 or 6 miles away.
I never even heard that.
Yeah, well, the problem is we have people standing outside counting, and they were getting, 1, 2, smack. If thunder roars, go indoors. If you can hear it, you're close enough to get hit. And then there's people out there that talked about the lightning crouch. If lightning's close, you crouch down on the balls of your feet and cover your ears. Reality of that is might as well kiss your butt goodbye, because that doesn't do anything. Except you get a bunch of soccer players squatting down in the middle of a soccer field when they should be running into the gym next door to them.
So as part of the key is to stay indoors if you can?
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, if there's a thunderstorm going out, there's no place safe outside in a thunderstorm.
But people love thunderstorms.
Hard-top car, get in the house.
What about driving, Michael?
You're safe in a car. A hard-top car is safe.
Really?
Sure. And not because of the rubber tires, but because of the metal frame of the car.
Why did we get the myth that if you're around metal, you're in more danger with lightning?
Metal conducts it. What happened was, years ago, think about it, we had landline telephones, and we had party lines, so that, our parents would pick up a telephone and there could be somebody else on it. Remember those days?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, lightning would hit the telephone wire, and it would run 1.5 miles down the wire to Fred's house, and 1 mile down the wire to Alice's house, and boom, boom, boom. So metal was always, Ben Franklin realized that metal conducts it. It doesn't attract it. Metal, if you see a lightning rod on the top of a building, it's a little metal rod that shoots up.
Yeah.
That little metal rod could be a pencil or plastic and work just as well. The only reason it's metal is because if it was wood or plastic, it would explode the first time lightning hits it. The wiring that conducts the charge from that point down around the outside of the house to the ground, that needs to be metal to conduct the charge. But that pointed stick at the top of the house can be anything. The only thing that has to do with being struck by lightning is height and isolation. Metal has nothing to do with it whatsoever.
What are a couple other myths that you were talking
about?
Oh,
that rubber protects